Okay. And of course, I'm telling this as if it was told the first time. So the people who didn't hear it day one, they're hearing it like it's their day one. And that's the point of it. So anyways. Okay, so this is the origin story. This is the story of when I introduced myself. So we're going to treat it that way. Hi, I'm Mr. Allen.
Hi.
I'm the weird one. And you'll learn that throughout the year. But we're going to talk about my origin story. Another thing called the pathways. And during this year, we actually will discuss pathways. It picks that up, by the way. So we're starting it over. One more interruption, like that, we're done.
You're not funny. Please don't.
I'm not.
Okay. This is the origin story, which is also known as the pathways story. Pathways is something you'll learn during this class. For the YouTubers, just watch the videos and you'll figure it out. But pathways is basically about how you get from where you are to where you want to be. When I was in high school, I thought I knew my pathway. Me and my friends, we had this idea that we wanted to make video games. In our minds, we were the best video game designers ever. Even though we've never done anything to actually prove it. We were just all talk and no action. So what ended up happening was we graduated high school with no plan beyond that, and we ended up going our separate ways. The two friends that I worked with, they went their own way, and I went and took a job working at a gas station. Did not go straight to college, just to a gas station. I stayed there for about 4 years, but during that time I met an assistant manager who taught me a really, really valuable lesson. He said that you have to have some passion in what you do. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those people who wakes up in the morning going, I don't want to go to work. He said you got to have some passion and you got to know how to have fun. And fun is not meant as putting people down. Fun is meant as in just enjoying it. Knowing who you can pick on, have fun with, but knowing what you do. We've done a lot of things at that gas station. We had a lot of pranks we pulled on each other. There was this one time that I was at the register and I had this fishing string tied around my finger, and I put it up through the ceiling, looped it through, and had it down on the other side. And it was set up to where my hand's up, it comes down. On the end of the fishing string, the other side was a spider, a plastic spider. But I had it to where my hand is up, like I'm waving, it's like down, or wait, hold on, backwards. If my hand is down, it's up. So when I raise my hand, it would drop. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so when the customers come up to me, like, hey, how you doing? All right, handle me. All right, bye. And then the spider drops right in front of them. How many times I have people screaming and yelling, going, oh, what in the world? It was so much fun. There was another thing I did called I had an impersonation I would do. So this gas station had these huge glass windows, and anytime I was on the outside, I always did the impersonation. They always asked me, what are you doing? And I would walk up to the window and just throw my body up against it and start shaking it like this, going, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm impersonating a fly trying to get in. And then there was also this custodian that worked there. He liked to clean up the areas, like the car wash area. And we decided to have a little fun with him. The way this building was designed, on the outside, there was this awning for the car wash that had this perfect echo. We had him believing that there was a wild dog on the loose. And every time he would go outside to spray the car wash to clean it, we would walk out there and just kind of, hey, be careful, look for that dog. And he'd be like, oh, whatever. Well, eventually when we thought he was starting to get tired of it, I would open the door and I would bark at him. And then every single time he'd be over there going, looking around. And we kept this going on for months. And eventually it got old and we stopped doing it until one day he's out there in the car wash and a dog actually shows up. And we watched his reaction. He's over here spraying and he sees the dog and he backs up and starts trying to spray at it, and then he ended up throwing the little one down and took off running back inside the building. We got a pretty good laugh at him, but he also pranks us, so it goes back and forth. So it's not picking on you if you prank back and forth. So anyways, I stayed at the gas station for a while until it got to the 4th year and they changed ownership. The new owners came in and said, we really like how you're committed to what you do and the passion you show. We really want you to stick around. However, we need you to work 7 days a week for about 2 to 3 months before we get things figured out. I'm like, so you're saying 2 to 3 months straight, never have a day off, and no pay increase? Yeah, no. So I left. My next job I took was working at Kmart. At Kmart, I got hired on as an electronics employee. And in electronics, I struggled to show that compassion at first because I really want to be there. But very quickly, I started getting into the job and showing that compassion and passion like I did at the gas station, started showing it there. And it didn't take long. As a matter of fact, I think I was there 4 weeks until the store manager come up to me one day and says, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, what's up? He goes, I want to make you the garden department manager. And I look back at him, I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, you be the garden department manager. And I'm like, I don't know anything about plants. To me, plants, they're all weeds. I mean, a rose bush, that's a weed, burn it. They're all weeds to me. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. He goes, I like the passion and I like the commitment you show in what you do. And I think you'd be good at it. So he put me in the garden center, and very quickly I learned some of the issues that were going on previously. One, we had a lot of people who didn't know what their role was in the garden. So the first thing I did was define to everybody like what their roles is. And Tom says, first of all, your role is you're a garden employee. I said, but I want to take advantage of your strengths, and I want you to work in the area of the garden that you're best suited for. So for example, this one lady, her name was Linda, and she knew everything there is about plants. So she took care of all of that for me. I showed her where the order forms were, everything that had to do with plants. I just let her do it, and she was happy with it. I had this one guy named Todd. Todd loved building stuff. And in the garden, you have to build like patio furniture, lawnmowers, anything of that nature. So I let him just build stuff. I'm like, you know what? Hey, I need patio furniture. If you go build it for me, I appreciate it. And he'd be on it. Every time, no complaints. And then I had this teenage kid. He just wanted to be in the garden because they didn't like him in the front of the building because he talked too much. I loved him in the garden because he talks too much. He was perfect for the register. Because somebody who talks a lot means you socialize. And I want customers to feel welcome. So the more you talk to them, the more they feel welcome to the garden center. And we had a couple of employees who basically fit in different areas, but you get the idea of how I did it. And then I kind of changed things where I wasn't a manager who just sat back and just tell you what to do. I would jump right in and help you do something. So if he's behind the building furniture, I'm right there helping build as well. We kept this going for a while, and it got to the point where this garden center, we completely turned it around. We completely turned it around and created what was titled as the best Kmart garden center in the entire southeast of the United States. They flew store managers from all over the southeast to our store just so I could show them how I run my garden. The day of the meetings was funny because they were in the back room having their little meetings, powwows, and we were told they'll be out there in about an hour. And I'm going through the garden trying to make sure everything's clean and ready for them. And the fertilizer shelf, all the shelves are rusted and they look bad. And I told my helpers, I'm like, that's not going to work. So we went to the back to this automotive area, the automotive area. We got a spray paint the same color as the shelves. So I told him, says, spray all the shelves for me. So they came in and they sprayed every single shelf. We got the rust out. Now the problem is the entire garden center smells like spray paint. So we have two doors, one on one side and one on the other side. And I told him, says, okay, the doors won't stay open, those automatic doors. I said, I'm going to jump in front of mine and open it. You jump in front of yours and open it. We just kept doing that for the remaining of the hour, open the doors just to try to push the air out. So a customer would walk in and see us sitting there doing this number going, all right. We just kept doing that the whole time. Yeah, that's pretty funny on camera. But anyways, it was a fun experience, but however, Kmart, being a retail job, is not always a safe place. They ended up changing ownership as well. They ended up selling out. They actually had to close a lot of the Kmart stores, and my store was one of them. So very quickly, I found myself out of a job. This time, not by choice; it was forced out. So I got tired of retail. The gas station didn't work out. Kmart didn't work out. So we tried something different. Took a job working at a phone company. I won't say the name on video. At this phone company, long story short, I was trained to be yelled at. I'm that person that was on the other end that when your parents want to call in and complain about my bill's too high or why did I be charged this, and they want to talk to a supervisor, I was one of those people. The team lead is what they called it. So I would have so many weird complaints. I remember one about a lady calling in that She thought the airplanes flying over her house were somehow, hacking into her phone lines and they could hear her conversations. I've had that. I had people tell me, says, why am I being charged $300 on my bill? And it turned out it's something their kid did. And I had to find a very polite way to say, talk to your kid, they did it. Yeah. There's a lot of things you learn in that department as well. I took in that passion, enjoying what I do, but I really learned the customer service side like a lot in this area. Because somebody made a good point to me once. They said, okay, a lady called in and complained about her phone bill being so high. She's been with this company for years. She paid normally $75 per month. 1 month, her bill was $100. She goes, I want a $25 credit. The charge to make it up to $100, it was legit. She really should have been charged. But she was genuinely upset that her bill went up to $100. So she talked to everybody in customer service and nobody would do anything to help her. She gets to me and she's like, my bill is $100 and it used to be $75. And I was like, stop. And yes, I did tell her that. Stop. All right, I gave you $25 credit. How is it going to help you? And she goes, why'd you give it to me so easy? I'm like, well, you pay $75 per month. You've been with us for years. I don't see any reason I can't give you a $25 credit to keep your service with us rather than you leaving. Because that's $75 per month we're losing instead. So that's customer service. Now, the whole training to be yelled at thing, there is some of those phone calls that are a little weird. And this is how you're taught to handle them. Somebody calls you up. My bill's so high, blah, 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 blah. You set the phone down. That's step one. You press the button on the pad that says mute. They can yell all they want. Mute the call. Chat back. No. Hey, Johnny, I'll be at lunch a little late. Gotta get rid of this one. Never mind, I may not get a lunch today. It just kept on going. That was the phone company. It was a fun job. I really enjoyed it. But unfortunately, the owner of the company changed ownership. The new people came in and they wanted to do what was called outsourcing. Outsourcing means they're going to pay somebody else in a completely different area, it could be a state, country, anything, to do the job we do. In my case, they want to outsource my department to Ohio. And I wasn't going to move to Ohio since, born and raised here in Texas. I'm not leaving. So I left the phone company. Here's the deal. The phone company paid me really good money. Here's the bills that I'm paying. Here's the money I was making. I'm making a whole lot more money than there was bills to pay. Here's the problem. When I left the phone company, the money goes away. The bills don't change. They're still there. I could do things to lower the bills a little bit, but they don't actually go away. I had to find another job to take care of the bills. So I took the first job that was available and is working in this school district as a custodian. As a matter of fact, this building, as y'all know, I am the first custodian of this building. I did this custodial work just like normal and just like previous jobs. I brought in the passion and the commitment. And people thought it looked unusual that there was a custodian who actually really wanted to be here. I came in, I enjoyed my job. And I find ways to do more than just the custodial work. I do a little bit more to it each and every time I can. So as I did the custodial work, I'd go out of my way to talk to kids. And there's this a lot of teachers start talking to me about, you really should think about how you want to do this, what else you can do. But there was an assistant principal that's not here now, but she used to be. Her name was Miss Gist. She asked me one day, have you ever thought about being a teacher? And that's when it clicked. Then I really started thinking about it, like, I think I could do that. What really sold it is one day when I was walking by the cafeteria and they were doing a little yearbook signing party thing. And this one girl ran all the way from the yearbook signing party all the way across to me. She goes, guess what? I'm like, what? She goes, I made choir. I'm like, well, good. She goes, yes. And she ran all the way back. I'm like, wow, the fact that she thought of me enough to come tell me that meant a lot to me. That's when I went the next day and told him, says, I want to try this teaching thing. So the first year I took a position as a paraprofessional, which is a teacher's aide. I was in the gym my first year. And that first year, the coaches told me straight up, says, you know what, I feel comfortable enough that I could walk out of this gym and you could run the entire gym by yourself. By day 3 of school, I was doing exactly that. I could pick up the microphone and run everything. The next year, they put me in the classrooms. That year also is when I started doing my college classes to be a teacher. Started at Collin College. I did that for 2 years, completed, got the associates, and I'm currently, as of the making of this video, and at A&M Commerce. I have a year left at A&M Commerce, and then I will be done. Since then, since that point, I have been gifted this classroom I teach right now called College and Career to give me even more experience at being a teacher, to know what it's like. I've earned 2 Crystal Apples. I've earned the Paraprofessional of the Year twice now. I've gotten a You Make a Difference award. You know, so many things I've accomplished, even more that I don't want to brag about. It's just something, let's just say I'm glad I was where I was at the time. So anyways, my pathway when I graduated high school, I didn't have a pathway. I didn't no clue where I'm going to go. But once I figured out what my passion was about, what I really want to do, I have my pathway. I know how to get where I want to be and where I want to be. So the lesson on this story is basically figure out your pathway. What are you passionate about? What choices do you have to make to help you get there? And that's it.